All right, let's talk about Zoom. I mean, if you were on planet Earth back in 2020, you know Zoom. It wasn't just some app, it was everything. It was the office, it was the classroom, it was where you saw your family. It literally became a lifeline for so many of us. But the story of how Zoom went from this pretty niche business tool to a global phenomenon, and how it survived a crisis that would have completely wiped out most companies, well, it's way more dramatic than you might think.
And this quote, it really nails the original promise of Zoom, right? It was all about simplicity and efficiency. It was designed to just get out of your way and let you connect with people. But that simple promise, oh, it was about to be tested in the most extreme way you could possibly imagine. Before the pandemic, you'd say you were going to video call someone or maybe Skype them. Then, almost overnight, we all just started Zooming. So how did it become the word for video calls? Well, while competitors made you sign up, log in, download stuff, Zoom just worked. Anyone could join a meeting with a single click. It was so easy that your CEO and your grandma could both figure it out in like 10 seconds. And that accessibility, that was its secret weapon.
But what happens when that super easy-to-use tool smacks right into a global pandemic? You get an explosion unlike anything the tech world has ever seen. Seriously, the numbers behind this growth are just staggering. Let's break them down. Okay, here's the first jaw-dropper. In just the first 2 months of 2020, Zoom added 2.22 million new users. Now, to put that into perspective, that is more new users than it got in the entire year of 2019. We're not talking about a growth curve here. It was a vertical line, straight up. And of course, all those new users meant a tidal wave of downloads. In 2020 alone, the Zoom app was downloaded over 500 million times. That made it one of the most downloaded mobile apps in the entire world. It wasn't just a work tool anymore. It was a cultural icon. This number, this is the peak of the madness. By April of 2020, Zoom was seeing over 300 million daily meeting participants. Now, I gotta clarify something here. That doesn't mean 300 million different people. If you had 5 Zoom calls in one day, you counted as 5 participants. Still, it's an unbelievable number that just shows the sheer scale of what was happening on their servers every single day. This timeline really shows the two different lives of Zoom. For almost a decade, it was this successful but, kind of quiet company making software for other businesses. Just steady growth, happy customers, nothing crazy. And then, bam, 2020 happens. It goes from 10 million daily participants in December 2019 to 300 million just 4 months later. But when you fly that high, that fast, the whole world is watching. And that's when people started to see the cracks. Because that kind of historic growth, that kind of attention, it always comes at a price. The world spotlight brought intense scrutiny. And what people found were some deep structural problems. This was Zoom's absolute make or break moment. And this is the central question of the whole crisis. Zoom was built for businesses, companies with IT departments and security protocols. It was never ever designed for public school classes or AA meetings or virtual therapy sessions. Its greatest strength, how easy it was to use, suddenly became its greatest liability, its Achilles heel. And this whole mess got a name that pretty much everyone remembers: Zoom bombing. All of a sudden, uninvited trolls were crashing meetings, hijacking screens, and just causing absolute chaos. It was a total public relations nightmare, making headlines everywhere and becoming the poster child for the platform's failures. And Zoom bombing was just the tip of the iceberg. Security researchers started digging and found a whole cascade of other issues. I mean, the company had made some misleading claims about its encryption, it was caught sending user data to Facebook, and had even accidentally routed some calls through servers in China. With every new revelation, user trust was just crumbling away fast. So you've got governments, schools, even huge companies like Google banning you. This is do or die time for a company. They could either collapse under the pressure or confront the crisis head on. They chose to fight. And honestly, their response was both bold and incredibly transparent. Zoom CEO got out there, publicly apologized, and announced this radical 90-day freeze on all new features. Every single engineer at the company was shifted to focus only on security and privacy. They rushed out a major update, Zoom 5.0, that turned on passwords in waiting rooms by default. And then, in a huge power move, they bought an entire encryption company, Keybase, to build the real end-to-end encryption they had promised all along. Look, this crisis wasn't just some bump in the road. It forced them to completely rethink who they were. Zoom realized it couldn't just be a simple meeting app anymore. It had to grow up and become a secure, reliable platform. It was this massive pivot from a tool defined by chaotic, reactive growth to an enterprise-level suite built on proactive security from the ground up.
So after all that chaos, what exactly is Zoom today? Because if the last time you used it was for a pandemic quiz night with your friends, you probably wouldn't even recognize it. It has evolved into something way, way bigger, something they call the Zoom Workplace.
So check this out. The Zoom of today isn't just about meetings. Not even close. It's an entire ecosystem of tools. They have Team Chat to compete with Slack, a cloud phone system, their own mail and calendar clients to take on Google and Microsoft, and even a full-blown contact center for customer service. The strategy is crystal clear. They want to be the single hub where all your work gets done so you never, ever have to leave the app.
And at the very heart of this new platform is, you guessed it, AI. The AI companion is now built right into the experience. It can summarize meetings you missed, help you draft emails and chats, even organize your ideas on a whiteboard. And by including this at no extra cost for paid users, Zoom is making this huge strategic push to embed AI deep into our daily work lives.
And that really brings us to the key takeaway here. Zoom's incredible journey has taken it from a simple utility, an app you open and close, to a persistent digital environment. It's a fundamental transformation from just being a tool into being a destination. It's not just an app you use, it's a digital space where you work.
Zoom's wild story is a dramatic case study, but it really reflects a much bigger trend. Companies like Microsoft, Google, and now Zoom are all in this race to build the all-in-one AI-powered platform that we never have to leave. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. As our digital lives consolidate into these massive platforms, what do we gain in efficiency, and what might we be losing in flexibility?